Everybody knows the travel industry has been hard hit by the pandemic, but it is making a fierce comeback. We'll be talking about that with an international travel expert next on the Jeff Crilley Show.
Many are predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is the Jeff Crilley Show. Welcome to my show. I know everybody's wondering about travel. I know my wife and I put a couple of trips on hold, but the travel industry is making a big comeback. To talk about that, Jann Parker, he is the CEO and founder of Travelinfo2Go. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. You know, it's a pleasure to be here, and I read your book before I got on here, and you're a Pulitzer winner or whatever. You know, Emmy winner. You know, the last guy I had the honor that had something of that nature. Had that award dignity was a tribal chief in Papua New Guinea.
I did not.
And I was kind of wondering. I wonder what should I wear when I was in that meeting. You know, everybody had a bone in their nose, and I turned to my guy. I said, "Do we have like a clip-on bone or whatever, so I can kind of like mix in with the local yokels here?" So anyway, I think I came all right today, but I'm very grateful to be here.
I'm glad you didn't come with the bone in the nose.
I would get the bone tomorrow, you know.
All right. Well, Jann, let's talk about your company, because what got you into the travel business?
You know, Travelinfo2Go is a labor of love. I'm a marketing guy, and we got into the business because I was in Bangkok one time, and I've been on a lot of trips. And you get to the destination, and all of a sudden you don't have what you started with, like your bags and all these accoutrements and your travel mix, and it's all been excommunicated and forgotten about. So this woman, I said, "What are you going to do about my bags?" So it's not really my concern. I said, "Well, I'll call the tour agency." And he said, "Well, they're not going to do anything for you because I'm subcontract labor." And I said, "Excuse me?" And I said, "I'm paying a lot of money to be on this thing." So when that was done, and it was a bad experience, I said, you know, one day I'm going to start a company to where we can vet these people all over the world and keep people from having this kind of indigestion, particularly after 17 hours and being on these jet airplanes. And that's one of the basic reasons why I started the company, in addition to doing things better.
Yes.
And simpler. And you know, keeping it simple, stupid is what we do with travel, so everybody can have a better experience.
Well, we're going to show your website and some of the recommended trips that you guys are talking about these days, and just kind of walk us through it. You can charter yachts. That's cool.
Well, we got into the yachts because they're recession-proof. At least they were until Homeland Security started boarding these yachts and taking everybody into quarantine down in Miami. And we got into the luxury end when we got into the French Riviera, which is what you're seeing here. And these are villas in Provence and the Riviera and around that area. They're like $75,000 a week, and they do take food stamps. And then we started getting these requests for private charter flights, and we kind of got into that business, which is a doozy in itself. But the Vegas thing, you know, when we had the pandemic, everything went from international travel to the Great USA. And we do a lot of group and corporate incentive travel. So I look at a casino is all encompassing, where you can have these business meetings and all these people, and you got the golf, you got the the casino, you got the big business meetings and the food, and that's the definition of Sin City, I guess.
Well, what do you see in terms of prices? Because I would have to believe that all those hot travel destinations are they really need our money right now, so they're probably cutting some pretty good deals.
Yeah, I don't think they're cutting good deals. I think they're cutting great deals and beyond that. But, you know, my business, when all this hit, I just kind of went, are you serious? I said, we got this thing that's shutting down the whole country. I said, that's impossible. And you're looking at it, and everybody is like bumming out. The whole dang world stopped. But everybody, it lasted for about a week or two, and my phone hadn't stopped ringing since. Because everybody loves Americans. They want the U.S. market. And they say, Jann, he goes, you're sitting there in the middle of Dallas, Texas. Can you get me people to come over here to Africa? And I said, sure, get them by boatloads. And Africa is one of our favorite destinations.
Well, let's talk about that. We've got some video that we pulled from your website. Tell us about Africa and what's that like?
Well, this guy's Murray Lipscomb. He's Crocodile Dundee on steroids, and he specializes in the best trips I've ever seen in my life. He has a company he's put together. It's beyond comprehension. I actually went over there and did one of his trips. And of course, they're trying to sell you, and you're just kind of like going, okay, this is not what they do for real people, but it is. But this guy does things like you just never seen people do before. And you pay for these experiences, and this guy delivers in spades. A man once told me one time, he says, don't put your money into possessions, put them into experiences. Yeah. In my opinion, when you go to Africa, you can go to Africa 20 times and still not see the whole thing. But K-Town, the wine, the safaris, the trains, the Winston Churchill experience down there, I read all his books. It's just incredible. The whole thing is one emotional extravaganza.
Yes.
And the thing that I really, I shoot sporting clays. It keeps your focus and all this, but I don't really believe in hunting.
Yes.
But you sit there and you wonder about Out of Africa and Robert Redford, and we're all passing through that whole thing with Meryl Streep. It's a killer movie. It makes you cry. It's boo-hoo. It's great, one of the greatest movies there. But you look at this Africa thing. What was it 100 years ago? What's a great migration look like 100 years ago? Because a lot of it is not there, and it's not there.
Right.
And that's where all these conservative people really come on strong. And Africa is a mind blower.
What a beautiful country. Show me, you brought a prop with you, and I'm afraid to ask. It looks like a stun gun.
This thing is a prop, and I forgot I had the thing, and I'm glad you turn it on, and everybody's scared to death about the virus.
Yes.
And before the virus hit, I always said, that some man told me, said, what's the dirtiest thing in the world? And I said, I can't wait to hear this. And he said, it's a bowling ball. And I said, what? And I said, why is it a bowling ball? Because people never clean out the holes. And so the shoes go with it. But then I said, what about airplane seats? I said, what about this whole deal with airplanes? Because, I'm coming back from Latin America, and this guy sitting on the airplane looked like he just finished the Great Tango. And he has a little of the hair goop in his hair. And I said, somebody got to sit in a seat, like 30 minutes. I said, they don't clean it. So this thing right here has the UV rays and all this stuff. And what it does is I'm wiping out all the germs.
Wow.
And this came out before the virus hit, and I was using it. It fits great in your briefcase. So anyway, you can use it on the toilet seat and microphones and all this kind of stuff. Under your arm, you don't have to use deodorant anymore. And it's a wonderful tool. And the funny thing is, I bought this thing for $60.
Is that right?
And now it's like $200. The same product, exactly the same product. And if you need to know about this, just give me a call, send an info thing on my website, and I'll tell you who sells these things.
But you're
and I don't make any money off of it.
And people don't need to be scared to travel. It is safe to travel.
The whole thing is like hokey pokey. And I'm on these. It's just like I'm not believing this stuff. And I'm not going to get into the deal about, is it a conspiracy theory? Does it really exist? Compare the flu to the virus. Fear, death. It's an interesting thing, but it makes people react.
Yes.
And I think that the thing that we need to do in the travel industry is to make the travel industry travel again. And the only way you're going to do that is you can't say these little slogans that said, during these challenging times. It's not challenging unless you make it challenging. It's positive. The only thing you got to do is get on the airplane and let a rip potato chip, and you're across the pond having a great time. It is a positive thing, and travel has actually gotten better because that hair that hair stuff isn't going to be on those seats anymore,
Right.
and these airlines are finally going to be cleaning their airplane problem. I don't have anything against American. This is a great company, but I do have something against sitting in somebody's jam, after a 18-hour flight and nobody cleaned the seat.
Right.
I mean,
hey, I'm with you. We're going to have you back, and we're going to have to work on getting you out of your shell because you're a little reserved.
the whole thing about travel, you talk about. Thank you for the compliment, Jeff. I really do. I mean, I'm staggered by somebody saying it to me. But you have a church and you have a traveler. And I think it's a great argument because it's an ego thing. Everybody wants to be a traveler. I said, well, you go beyond the traveler. You're an explorer, like Jacques Cousteau or whoever you great guys out there, with the penguins and all this stuff. And getting out of your comfort zone is the way I live my life, and it makes you more productive. It makes you it makes you more professional because you're not sitting in your lazy boy every day expecting the same old stuff. Now you sit here and I said, what? I mean, you're walking off. I said, this is like Hollywood in here. All these people are pretty. I mean, all of a sudden you have this hick from Louisiana and you invited me here to talk and. I said, God, I have to have 5 or 6 shots before we do this. Nobody has any liquor around here this morning, and I just got out of my AA meeting, and I'm ready to have a relapse because I'm so nervous. But I'm very honored to be here with you. I mean, you have one of the best personalities I've ever seen.
You're too kind. You're too kind.
I mean, you're a very accomplished person. You got a great company,
Thank
and
you.
it's family oriented. You got your whole family in here, and this is. I mean, you're a mover and shaker.
All right, next time when
I'm just shaking.
when you come back, I want the bone in the nose. I want the whole treatment.
We'll bring Big Chief with us. I guarantee you'll never forget him. You have to get some air extra dry to make sure you can breathe properly in here. I'm not telling him he needs deodorant.
And plus, we've got that zapper.
So this thing right here, and then never leave home without it.
All right, we're going to put the website up to end the segment. Travelinfo2Go is the website. Jann, you have been an amazing guest. Thank you for honoring
You've
us.
been an amazing host, and I very much appreciate your time. I really do. It's a wonderful experience.
Thank you. And that's it for now. We'll see you next time.